You set sights at South Carolina, where the famed 1.33-mile superspeedway is now downgraded to an intermediate classification with modern technology. But regardless, for over 75 years, this track has played host to many NASCAR events, and BPNR shall be no different. We went here last night, but we shall run it back with Division Two's turn with the Lady in Black 100, in reference to one of the comic nicknames given to this racetrack. Whilst qualifying is ongoing, take a look at our point standings. Colin Teague, after his brilliant win last week at Ricky Raceway, he leads the point standings 20 points over Mattis Wells. Dragons in third, Brandon Carter in fourth, also leading the Rookie of the Year standings, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that part actually. Well, William Gregory is fifth place, and those are the part of the 18 drivers who have set at least 1 point or one provisional or made one start, whatever you want to interpret it. They at least got points. And I'm going to correct myself as Dragons, who actually leads the rookie standings, only 6 points ahead of Brandon Carter. So qualifying has ended, and we shall take a look at qualifying. Colin D trying to go back-to-back wins pole. Going to be 700ths of a second over Riley Trawick. Tyler Aziz third with Harry Crawford in fourth place, making up row 2. Row 3 has Dunlap Pratt and Dragons. Row 4 has Brandon Carter and Iker Vera. Ninth place, Cameron McElreath, who was the final driver to set lap time. Whilst I believe Viola Shmuda are going to be the drivers who will start at the rear for today. Going to be 11 drivers taking the green flag, I presume. So, in terms of what to compare from last night versus today, I'm gonna be blunt, there isn't much really. The I-9 is the same, the setup is the same. The only difference I could really find is something that doesn't really ultimately matter, which is the speed of the pace car. Going up from 50 to 60 in between the 2 days. So for drivers like Trawick and Z's, the drivers who are bush ranking, one of the few that are going to bush rank, they have a leg up because they drove last night. They knew what to expect. They knew what to expect for tonight, I should say. But for someone like Colin Teague or Iker Vera, they're going into this race blind. Well, yes, the race is shorter. That's still something they have to keep an eye on, especially when it comes to race strategies. We did have an influx of cautions, but we still saw the differences of the approaches that the D1 drivers were taking during their green flag pit stops prior to the caution, just elaborate to after the pit cycle has concluded. Got 7 minutes of happy hour. Race should be going soon. This is part 2 to the throwbacks. The throwback week, I should say. Harry Crawford, the only driver to switch off from his throwback last night and back to his primary for today. I'm gonna pull up one because there isn't too many throwbacks this time, and thus I'll spread them out further. But let's talk about Trawick because they they had a bumpy start to the race after their game issues, but did rebound to a top 5 finish last night. So she has some speed and some luck on her side then. But will that apply to today? With less cars, that could mean less caution, so she can't exactly rely on pure luck and banking on the late yellows to help her towards the front. Trying to embrace her inner Kurt Busch with the 2003 throwback that he lost to in this racetrack in 2003 when he lost the Ricky Craven and what was for a pretty good while the closest finish in NASCAR. Lane Allows not running, but you got the Jeff Byrne throwback from yesterday. Should be going soon. If not, then we gotta wait 5 minutes. Donna Brad. Well, might as well mention it when we still got the downtime. Well, he won yesterday with what was his 4th win in the D1 season. And this is the first time I've seen him drop down to Division 2. He didn't do any starts last season. So this would mark his first D2 race. And it could be a reversal of the usual. He won a D1 race before, but now he's looking to win a D2 race for the first time. And trying to establish himself as one of the drivers in BPNR history to win 2 days in a row, I suppose. So if any driver in this field is the driver to keep an eye on, it is Dunlap Brad, current points leader in Division 1. And I guess I mentioned this now also, but we were originally meant to be at Sonoma today, but there was a shift in the schedule, so hence why D2 is now a companion race to D1, running it back at Darlington tonight. Well, next week also got a change. The road course state was moved over to Michigan, well, to Detroit to be exact, and it will be their first street race, I believe. But it is race time. Get my stuff ready to go. But yeah, if you didn't really catch the drift, next Wednesday, will be D2 to Detroit Belle Isle, which used to play a part in the IMSA and IndyCar schedule, but that got relocated to a different circuit nowadays. Talk more about it during the post-race, but for now we have the actual race to get through. Today's race is going to be 74 scheduled laps, and 2x Spare Cup physics and overtime, much like D1. I should probably relocate the pit camera, but the base car will head in. And you'll find Colin Teague and Riley Trawick on the front row. As the field approaches the restart zone, we are green flag and underway at Darlington. Teague starting where he left off, gaining clear of the race lead. Thailand Aziz moves himself up to second. Trawick forced to go back to third, but here comes Aziz wanting a race lead early. And he's going to get loose in turn 3, but gets his car corrected. But on cold tires is really slippery and very risky to make a move that egregious. So for Aziz, he'll have to come out of the opening lap in P2. Aziz trying again this time, but now Trawick's also in this conversation trying to take second place back. But Collins going to spin in front of the field from the lead, and it's going to be a restart. We can't have nice things.
Drivers, to your cars.
Might as well. You know, even though this wasn't planned, I kind of like what I did with the camera, so we're gonna put this right here. So we wait for the grid, and we'll have to run this back. Got 20 seconds until the engines fire off. So kind of like yesterday, whoever starts second is at a really big disadvantage on the initial starts. And they'll usually get swallowed up on the outside and forced to fall back to third. So unless Trawick has something up her sleeve, she's likely going to lose P2 to Thailand Aziz once more. As the field rolls off once more, we're going to use our second attempt here. Base car's going to head in. The field is in the hands of Colin Teague, trying to go back-to-back in Division 2. But we are underway once again at Darlington. LaPrade being a little more aggressive than the initial start. He's right up there. He's going to get a little bit loose on the bottom of 2. Trying to get side by side with Crawford. Loses out on 4th, but still has a chance for 5th. But Dragons is going to make maneuvers on the outside. Thailand Aziz actually does not make a move on Riley Trawick. So he's back to 3rd, where he started. Top 3 remain unchanged. 78 in the wall barely, but keeps P4, making the overtake on Harry Crawford. And back here we got Brandon Carter in the 101 Toyota trying to make a move on Vera. This is for 7th. Well, you better I can't talk. Gotta get those positions while you can, especially on the initial starts. I mean, you never know when a short run can become a long run. So it looks to me only 10 cars are starting a race, so everyone here is guaranteed a top 10 finish. At least that's a sentiment. Oh, big stack up towards the top 3. Colin T trying to take it easy. Has slowed down Trawick to now be side by side with Aziz, but she's going to drive it deep into turn 3 and 4. She'll defend the position, and that will allow Dragons as well as Harry Crawford the remaining 2 cars in the top 5 to close up. Check back here. Brandon Carr did make the move on Vera, but now he is on to Della Prad for 6th. But up ahead, here comes Dragons. Up from 4th place to 3rd, but he's going to brush the wall. And he loses that position and then some. Meanwhile, LaPrade defending against Carter. He is successful, and he's going to pick off one more, that being the slowed 78 car. After his wall bounce through turns 3 and 4, LaPrade moves up into the top 5. Dragon smacks the wall again, and this time in the exit of turn 2. He's gonna have to do diligence to defend against Brandon Carter, but is unsuccessful. And he loses quite a bit of positions from 3rd to 7th. Caution is out. And Cameron McGalreath. And one of the drivers involved. It is field frozen for today, so we can't gain any positions, but the field is still going to cycle around to complete the quote-unquote race back. So it'll be Colin Teague, Treywick, and I believe it'll be Aziz who gets 3rd, because Crawford let him go. I hit the wrong button. I muted my mic for just a second, but okay. 61 gets loose through turn 4, and McGalvey had nowhere to go. 50 of Joe Shibuda also collected in what will be a 3-car accident. Quick on board with McGalvey's before we turn live to ongoing pit stops. So back at live, exiting the pits will be Colin Teague in the lead with Treywick 2nd, David Crawford 3rd. So under our first caution period, lap 9 of 74 scheduled laps. Race leader Colin Teague has quite a few misnomers, if I can say it. He's got an interesting throwback. This is in reference to Fast Nike 8, one of the first BPNR racers when it was a road racing league. This was during 2021 and 2022 where he became prominent in the league, but he was forced to disappear after his parents made him delete Discord sometime in 2022. Colin Teague is one of the few people who remember him, and much like Fast Nike's painting abilities back then because he was on a phone, it's intentionally bad, but it's really nostalgic and gets bigger emphasis on the message they were trying to convey. Colin Teague, one of the drivers to come up with the idea. Kirsten Bell had that throwback yesterday, and Thomas Johnson was also slated to run the throwback, but he is suspended for this race. So whether or not The 94 car will be running the throwback. Next week will be ultimately up to them. Going to be choose cone. The majority picks top side. But Colin Teague, our race leader, chooses the inside. Riley Trawick trying to take the lead from the outside. Much like how they started. It's going to be Crawford and LaPrade in row 2 with Aziz and Dragons row 3. Brandon Carter and Shbuda in row 4, while McGarry and Vera take up the rear. We are set to go back racing, about to conclude our first caution period in BPNR Division 2. Base car heads in. Teague was able to get the lead to himself prior to turn 1 on the initial starts. Does he do it again? Into the restart zone. We are back underway. He will do so. Trawick also gets clear. She'll have to slide into second. They'll remain side by side for third place. And Dunlap Pratt being able to make the outside work yesterday on the restarts, making good use of it today as he gets third place away from Crawford. Most of the field remains single file, while Shmuda loses positions but is able to defend it against Igor Vera. It's just really hard track to make overtakes. Turn 3 is your best bet, but if you're not close enough, you gotta wait a whole lap before you can make another attempt at it. And that's what the 97 just did. She's going to move to the inside of Colin Teague. This is for the race lead. And she's going to get loose through the apex. That costs her a lot of speed. Teague is able to defend, but Trawick loses second place over to LaPrade. And she is stuck side by side through turns 1 and 2 with Harry Crawford to her inside. And she she was going for the lead, and by the next lap, she is out of the podium. Well, that happened. I believe that was a 78 brushing the wall in turns 1 and 2 again, so Dragons is not having a fun time with turns 1 and 2. In turns 1 and 2 is just where you get most of your speed at this racetrack, and if you get off the line just a little bit, it can cost you big. It can run down the Pratt sideways as he exits, trying to go for the lead. He's got Harry Crawford to assist the number 3 machine. And they're going to remain side by side. Colin Teague wants nothing to do with it. Gives up the lead to Dunlap Brad. Oh, it's going to be sideways for the 97. She's on the apron. And what a save. She did not touch the wall at all. But she is going to lose detrimental amount of time to the leaders. I mean, it's like the kind of, how do I put this? When Darlington first opened, the drivers were taking the flat part of the track, i.e. the apron, as the racing line until one of them figured out the banking was just meant to act as a runoff. They found that banking to be faster than the flat surface, so hence why everyone uses the banked part of the track now. Want to take a look at that replay, but first we'll see a possible exchange for second place. A Crawford gets clear of Colin Teague. So we'll go back a few laps. I believe it was here. No, it was next lap. So Trayman bounces off the wall. That leaves herself vulnerable to Tyler Z's. And she just clears herself. And that's just quick response and quick recognition that she is going to merge back up towards the field and, well, and keep her car in one piece at least. But we did we did miss Colin Teague falling to 7th place. He was running in the podium. He got loose through turns 1 and 2. And just everyone blew by him on the inside lane down the backstretch. Guevara back live into the pit lane. And was a very early pit stop. And he has actually disconnected, so that was a retirement kind of pit stop. So that leaves 9 cars on the racetrack as we're about to complete 22 laps of the scheduled 74. Car number 3 of Dunlop Prad has the race lead, not much, over Brandon Carter, and even himself doesn't have that much of a cushion over Harry Crawford in 3rd place. Tyler Z is working his way back up. He's 4th place. Dragons in 5th place trying to defend against Colin Teague. And his Cam McGarry's in 7th. Got Riley Chaywick after here near wrecking at the backstretch into turn 3. She is 8th place. And Joe Shmuda 9th. You see the different lines that the two leaders are doing. Brandon Carter trying the fastest way, the shortest way around the track, while LaPrade, with his experience, recognizing that turns 3 and 4, you're better off picking one line and sticking to it. And the best form of defense is staying to the outside, get the speed off the corner. But he gets a little too much, he brushes the wall. Brandon Carter is going to hit him. Both of them keep their cars straight, but neither of them are going to get the lead after this. Harry Crawford now up to the race lead. Tyler Z's up to 2nd. Colin Teague, after brushing the wall a few laps ago, losing him 5 positions, is back up to 3rd. With just the race flipping on its head, we're only 1/3 of the race in. Well, Jenkins gets loose in front of LaPrade, hits the wall, he's going to lose 5th place. But man, oh man. Trying to take a look at that actually before we stray ourselves a little too far. And like the Prade's carrying too much speed. That is a mistake he rarely makes, and unfortunately for Carter, he was following him on the top side and didn't really have anywhere else to go except into the rear quarter. But lucky for both of them, that didn't trigger a wreck. Where did that Pratt go? He is in the pit lane, so that did do him enough damage to cost him tire life, and he is forced into an early stop. So 3-car points leader in Division 1 going a lap down. The top 3 now broken off, made up of Crawford, Aziz, and Teague. Crawford gets loose. This allows the opportunity for Tyler Aziz to try and make a move, but all he can do is close up to that 76 car. And it's probably better he doesn't make an overtake right now because that 76 car is warping. Tala with the Furniture Row Racing livery. When they were active in NASCAR, he chooses to highlight 2017 when Martin Truex Jr. has the best season of his career en route to the championship. And Brandon Carter on the apron just must have gotten loose and bounced off the wall at 2, but he is going to make his way down the pit lane. He's going to spin it. This is a tricky pit lane to get to. You got all that flat track, and when you lose the rear end, it's really difficult to save the car. As if Carter needed any more time to lose after his incident with the Pratt. So pit stops are around the window. Going to be lap 33 currently, so with the caution and restarts on lap 10, I'm pretty sure it was. So that's 10 less laps these drivers would have to do. 64-32. So right now, they could pit and potentially cross each other over. I don't suggest it. I would wait personally until lap 42, as there is an exchange for second place. Colin Teague has made the move for second on Tyler Aziz. So if I'm someone like Treywick or Dragons, maybe in a few laps or so, I would consider pitting and try to regain some lost time. Huge run for the 51, but he's not going to use it. And he has an even bigger run this time down the backstretch, playing with the throttles to turn 1 and 2, a crucial part to conquering this racetrack. He's going to get the lead, but he washes up through 3 and 4, but he's still able to defend Harry Crawford. So currently the top 3 are setting 32s, low 32s. We're checking with the Pratt, who is running right around the same actually, so the Pratt recognizes that he pitted way too early, and he's gonna try to stretch it to the checkered flag at the conclusion of lap 74. But even I would agree that that is a really tall order. You're asking 46 laps, which the fuel tank suggests you can go 37. It is savable, but the Pratt's gonna have to be committed from start to finish. Coming out before Colin Teague is going to win the halfway. There is no caution for it, but he gets 15 points to his name, adds up to his points lead. Harry Crawford second, Talon Season third. Neither of them gets points for D2, but it helps them in their respective Constructors Champions. It'll be Dragons in fourth, and Riley Trawick completing the top 5. Josh Muda in 6th. Where is 7th? It'll be LePrad 7th, who's looking to unlap himself, actually. Meanwhile, Brian Carter in 8th. And those are the only 8 cars on the track. Cam McGarry being the most recent retiree. On board with the Pride, he has pressure tires by a wide margin, 2 seconds a lap faster. He breezes by Aziz. And now it's just a matter of how can he get by the 2 leaders, especially when they're side by side. Entering 1, Teague is going to hit the wall. Harry Crawford back to the lead, allows Dylan Pratt to get by the 51. And now the 3 is going to take his chances with the fresh rubber to unlap himself. Do have one pitter on the horizon, that being a 97. Right around the pit window, there's a good chance to pit, get the undercuts. And she'll bog it down to 45 miles per hour. And she'll be the one to tip off the cycle. While she may be several seconds behind the leaders even prior to pitting, it's still worth a try. McConaughey's not done, however, is going to get back at Harry Crawford side by side at the start finish. It's going to be Teague who leads the lap. And finally he gets clear, entering 1, Colin Teague back to the race lead. And all Aziz could really do is just watch these two, just trading lead back and forth. He's thinking, what do I gotta do to get by these two? He's gonna try for second here on Harry Crawford, and Crawford lets him go. .97 out of the pit lane is gonna probably stay to the apron, or she's coming back in, perhaps. But all the while, Colin Teague makes his way down the pit lane. It's going to lock up nearly a spin, but not completely, so he doesn't lose as much time as Brandon Carter did earlier. But that may just play a part on how he will not be able to win this race if it all unfolds incorrectly. We expect Harry Crawford, and this time he is bogging it down. And he'll make the way down the pit lane. Tyler Aziz, he's normally the one to start a pit cycle, but he looks to be the driver who's going to end the pit cycle, going as far as he can. Get the most amount of tire life when it's all said and done. Got T leaving the pit lane now. Gonna be the 78 car taking extra time in their box to make damage repair. And it comes to 76. Going to be a 4 tire change for him as well. And it is Aziz, lap 45 going into 46. Harry Crawford out of the pits now. Doesn't matter where that 3 car is. Entering turn 1 now, it is possible that the 76 could still get out of this with the race lead potentially. He's just merged on the backstretch. He is still ahead of the 3 car. But the 76 is gonna have to take a lap or two to warm up those tires. We'll see it cross the line. Currently marked in 5th, so... Oh no, I do apologize. Let me find him again. So Dunlap Pratt has the lead, but Harry Crawford is trying to ensure that he does not go a lap down. He is on the verge of being a lap down, but with those fresh tires, he will pull away from that 3 car. That just leaves a Pratt very open to get the bad end of the stick in the closing lap. So Aziz and Teague, who were a lap down, have just gotten past the leader to put themselves back on the lead lap. Again, that is 46 laps the 3 car is trying to do on this set of tires and this fuel load. It's going to be a tall order. Joe Shimoda out of the pit lane. He is 1 lap down. About to be 2. Now he is 2. As the Pratt has passed him. Shimoda with the F1 censorship. That was in reference to the tobacco ban enforced as late as 2006. Some countries, especially those in Europe, have already banned tobacco advertising and production. So whenever F1 visited those countries for their races, the teams would have to put up these barcodes, but act as an optical illusion at 200 miles per hour. And I will complete the throwbacks that are in this race. Not a lot compared to T1, but there are also some repeats. So currently it is the Pratt after 50 laps completed with the race lead. He has a 14-second lead over Brendan Carter, who is also one of those drivers who pitted early. So how long will he stay in second place is unknown. The 101 car pitted at lap 31, to my knowledge. And it's just more time being lost to Dunlap Pratt as he lets more cars get back on the lead lap or just unlapping themselves in general. And now, most recently, the 78 car of Dragons puts himself 1 lap down now. So that in the event of a caution, he can get back on the lead lap. So as the Pratt enters turn 3, the Carter is in the apex of turns 1 and 2, while Harry Crawford crosses the start-finish line to begin lap 53. And in comes the 3 car. He is not confident on making this at a long stretch, so he's going to opt for a 2-stop strategy, pitting lap 53. So that will hand Brandon Carter the race lead, but he doesn't have that much of a gap to Harry Crawford, who has the most optimal strategy of only a 1 stop. And of these 3, Crawford, Teague, and Aziz, Colin and Teague is on the back foot, pitting the earliest. Well, Aziz has the biggest advantage, pitting the latest, while Harry Crawford is in between them, but did pit 1 lap after the 51 did, while Aziz carried on for 3 more laps. So out of the pit lane is Dunlop Pratt. He is going to go 1 lap down. But much like earlier in the race, he has the fresh tires and needs to get by them as quick as he can. Nearly hits Colin Teague as he exited turn 4. And within a lap or two, the 3 car will be back on the lead lap. He can also do it right now, just a flex. But 20 laps to go. Excuse me, 18 to go now for Eric Crawford. I don't think Dunn has enough time to get back at them. The most recent lap, he put in a lap 1.5 seconds faster than Harry Crawford, so I don't suspect it is possible. So the Pratt really needs to bank on a caution to pull himself back in. And currently the only sources of caution are 2 groups of 3. This one being a 5th place battle between Dragons Shimuda and Riley Trawick just behind them. If you heard the onboard, she actually downshifted to 3rd gear, so it is possible to control that. You'll more often see it during qualifying. It may be short run speed, but if you're trying to stretch your tires, you're burning up the rears doing that, so I wouldn't suggest doing it every lap. And she's going to bounce off the wall here. And turn 3 and 4. Colin T gone for a spin. He was in the podium places. But that has all unraveled. Now it's down to 2 cars for the race lead. Quickly take a look at what happened to the 51. Just asking too much out of the car. It gets unloaded at the exit of turn 4. And he's going to hit the inside wall and cross the finish line backwards. But the race isn't over. So he remains 3rd, but at the cost of a potential race victory. He was looking to go back-to-back in Division 2 after breaking a 2.5-year winless streak in BPNR last week at Riki Raceway. Now it's down to these 2. We saw them battling at New Hampshire. Now they get to try again, this time for the race lead. Metala has the fresher tires. It's just a matter of when he'll be able to get by the 76 here. 10 laps to go from Darlington of the scheduled 74 laps. Harry Crawford having to play defense against Salah Aziz. Third place is going to be Colin Teague. Actually, he lost that position, so it's actually Dylan Pratt who is on fresh rubber, opting for a two-stop strategy instead of the one-stop the leaders have opted for. So Dylan Pratt third. Colin Teague, after his spin, dropped down to fourth. It'll be Shmuda in fifth, Dragons in sixth, Brandon Carter in seventh, Riley Trewick eighth, McGilvery's and Guevara out of the race. But we missed the exchange for the lead for like the 1900th time on this channel. I'm going to kill myself. So on the front stretch, Aziz gets inside and makes it past stick to turn one. Harry Crawford doing his best to stay off the wall, knowing the danger. And that's how Aziz got by. It's not over yet. Harry Crawford had to be in Division 2 last season. And what a show he put on. He was in reach of the championship, but got suspended for his actions at D1 Watkins Glen last season. So he was the road warrior that he is. He was only able to win 2 out of the 3, as he was forced to miss Watkins Glen in D2. And had he not been suspended, he would have been a really great championship threat. But Crawford has been proven worthy to continue full-time in D1, and this display of excellence is why both of them hit the wall. As Crawford, you can't be following Aziz. You gotta focus on your own line and you gotta find your own way forward, not wait for Aziz to slip up. Oh, he doesn't want to bump him. He makes his own mistake. At 5 laps to go, he's gonna have to trail him back down. Salah Aziz loose out of 2. Anyway, even with the fresh tires for the 14, it's starting to even out. Four laps left. They call it the Lady in Black. And now it is a black car who leads the race at crunch time. Aziz didn't do too hot last night when it was D1 racing. But with the Pred having his own issues, Aziz had just capitalized on the opportunity. Crawford hits the wall again. There's only one lap car up the road, that being Colin Teague 4th. I don't think either of them could get by the 51 in time, so it's just a matter of can Crawford catch up to the 14. 2 to go. The 76 playing with the throttle, but he gets better rotation. 14 hits the wall. Crawford looks inside. Aziz is going to brush the wall in turn 3 and 4. He loses the lead as they approach the white flag. Harry Crawford, one more lap. Colin Teague moves out of the way. But this battle might have been already said and done. Last season in D2, he was known as the Road Ringer. This most recent winter, he was known as the Holiday Season 2 champion. And now, you get to call him, again, a D2 winner. Harry Crawford wins at Darlington. And just what a great battle between Crawford and Aziz. Again, we saw it at New Hampshire when D2 was the headline there. And despite the amount of mistakes these two have had, only one can remain. Darlington, South Carolina has to witness an Aussie doing burnouts. And just can't see it at 76. But just past the smoke, he is going to potentially find victory lane. Or just do another victory lap. Aziz, with the new tires, did everything he could, but just too many mistakes. And ultimately let this guy win. I think he's just trying to find victory lane and just would rather take the long way around. Or he can go into this opening. Or not. It is over here. So while Crawford tries to find his way over here, we might as well take a look at the finishing results. So only 10 cars competed. Harry Crawford emerges victorious. It's going to be Tyler Aziz in P2. Dunlap P3 after taking a two stop strategy. That's a coin to plan, but he did make the most out of it. Brandon Carter, 4th place. Maybe Dragons in 5th. Colin Teagan 6th. I don't think that's correct, but don't quote me on that. Josh Muda 7th. Riley Trewick in 8th, having late race issues. And it's going to be Miguel Reyes in P9 and Ikervera in 9th and 10th with their DNFs. The only two of the race. Has he found it? Just rewind a bit. Here he goes. 76 back in victory lane. The Red Bull machine returns to victory lane in Division 2 of BPNR. It doesn't seem like anyone wants an interview. Well, what could you do when there's only one early yellow while the rest of the race went caution free? And I'll be real, I thought it would be a Dunlap runaway win. But after his issues, it opened a door for pretty much everyone. And yep, doesn't seem like anyone wants an interview, so we'll wrap up here. It'll be CCRS racing tomorrow to cap off April. They'll go to Trenton Speedway, the Kidney Bean Oval. Well, that'll be 8:25. Friday has Budweiser starting us off at Richmond Raceway. That'll be streamed here on this channel. Well, no, it'll be streamed on Cheese Food Media as they go to Willow Springs Raceway, a road course in California. Almost said Carolina. My bad. Essex will continue the Darlington trend this week as the concluding race on Friday night, 11:55. While Saturday, while OSCC is off, is going to be IFAR, concluding the IFAR trend at at Cheese Food Media. That'll be 9:30. Their final race of the regular season, so you get to see which of the best in NR2003 make the chase and who ultimately misses out. That will be Saturday night. Next Wednesday, for next race for Division Number 2, they'll head to the streets of Detroit for the, I don't know if it'll be the Chevrolet Grand Prix of Detroit. I could actually check that. That's not the case. Their actual race title is Can't Have BPNR in Detroit 100K. I mean, it's a name. But yeah, Friday, I'll be streaming Budweiser. They'll be at Richmond. Good race overall tonight, so thank y'all for watching, if there were any of you watching. And until Friday, see you next time.